Have you ever wondered, out of all the characters in Poppy Playtime, who exactly is the smartest? You might first think it's Harley Sawyer, but then we also have the prototype, Elliot Ludwig, and literally all of the other scientists who worked at Playtime Co. So let's try to figure out which Poppy Playtime character is the most intelligent. But first, let's start with the dumbest. And for the absolute dumbest character, like I'm talking absolutely stupid, we actually have a tie between Boxy Boo and Pianosaurus. And the reasoning for this is because both of them were some of the first successful bigger bodies experiments. And so with Boxy Boo being experiment number 1160 and Pianosaurus being number 1163, we can see that they were created around the same time. But there was one glaring flaw with both of them: their intelligence. Although Boxy Boo was a scientific miracle, it seems that most of his mind didn't survive the transplant, as he was literally used as Playtime's human garbage disposal. And with Pianosaurus, we find a note from Harley Sawyer which says this: much like its predecessor, 1163 displays none of the typical human qualities. Whatever is left of the bright, joyful thunder of laughter appears limited or altogether depleted. A shame, I suppose. And so we don't really know which one was for sure the dumbest, but both of them only got like 10 seconds of screen time. But let me know down in the comments which one you think was dumber. But now let's move on to which of the characters were the smartest. And for the smartest character, we have characters like Harley Sawyer, Dr. White, Eddie Ritterman, Leith Pierre, Elliot Ludwig, and even the prototype. But for now, I'm going to be focusing on the prototype, Elliot Ludwig, and Harley Sawyer, because these three seem to be the absolute smartest. And the reason I say this is because Harley wasn't killed due to the fact that he was literally too smart to die. The prototype made a laser pointer out of an alarm clock and almost escaped containment because of it. And Elliot Ludwig was probably a billionaire since he was the founder and CEO of a massive toy company. But I'm gonna rule out Elliot Ludwig because being a CEO doesn't necessarily make you smart, but it can show other qualities like hard work and knowing what opportunities to take. So in terms of raw intelligence, the battle is between Harley Sawyer and the prototype. So let's go over what Sawyer and the prototype have done to see which of them is the smartest, because although you may think it's the prototype off the bat, Harley Sawyer was also extremely smart, even being part of Elliot's Young Geniuses program as a kid. And because he was in the program, Elliot eventually took a liking to Sawyer and spent more time with him than the other kids, working on experiments together and treating Harley like a son. But after a falling out, Sawyer was eventually hired in his adulthood by Leith Pierre, and ever since then he was working as a doctor at Playtime Co., who introduced the Bigger Bodies Initiative, where he and some other scientists were able to make some massive scientific breakthroughs, where you could take the conscience and life of a human and put it into a bigger body, like we see with Huggy Wuggy and Catnap. But what really shows just how smart Sawyer was is that even after years of the Bigger Bodies Initiative, they still needed Sawyer alive in order to keep the program going. Although he was extremely reckless, they decided not to kill him and rather just kept him in a giant metal container where the other scientists would be able to ask him questions. And so if you're literally too smart to kill, you're most likely really high up on the IQ spectrum, meaning it's possible that Harley Sawyer is in fact smarter than the prototype. But we can't be so sure yet, so let's look at the prototype's accomplishments to see which one of them is actually the smartest. In the chapter 2 tape, we hear of an incident where the prototype nearly escaped containment by taking an alarm clock along with other things in his room, which he used to create a laser pointer, which allowed him to disable the security camera that was monitoring him. And while it was off, he hid in one of the camera's blind spots, causing an employee to go inside to check if he was really there. And because of this, the prototype tried to escape, but got stopped by another employee who was able to remotely lock the door. But the prototype didn't just do this, but it seems he also manipulated Theodore Grambel, or as we now know him, Catnap, because in what seemed to be an escape attempt, Theodore ended up shocking himself with a green grab pack hand. But rather than leaving the factory, the prototype stayed and handed him over to the staff in order to save his life. But even after the hour of joy, the prototype still hasn't left yet, which leads me to believe that that was actually a manipulation attempt in order to get Catnap to worship the prototype. But he isn't able to just manipulate single people, but also mass manipulate all of the toys in order to enact the hour of joy, bars, because in the tape we see all of the toys killing the employees and visitors, but yet the prototype is nowhere to be seen. So if he got all of the other toys to do the dirty work for him, this shows a huge amount of intelligence in order to get all of the toys to literally kill people. But it goes even further, because the prototype was able to manipulate us throughout all of chapter 3, as when we talked to Ollie, in reality we were talking to the prototype, which in hindsight we should have known this from the get-go, because somehow Catnap called us from the Ollie phone telling us to leave Playcare, which we didn't even pay 1 ounce of attention to. But in chapter 4, after we realize that the prototype is now in control over the factory and even Sawyer's life, it seems to be that the prototype is actually smarter than Sawyer. But then again, it's possible that Sawyer lets the hour of joy happen, since Leith and the others literally turned him into a floating brain. But it's possible that Sawyer might be smarter than the prototype, because the only reason that the prototype is keeping him alive is because he needs Sawyer's insights into whatever he's trying to do in the labs.
Have I made an error in allowing your survival?
Of course not. We just need more time to perfect the time. You can't expect to do it on your own so quickly.
The situation necessitates it be done.
Quickly. I'm just giving you the facts. And the fact is, we need more time, or this isn't going to work. I can only be reactive up here.
Then of what use are you?
You know I'm still your best shot at cracking that secret. If I weren't, you would have already killed me. A sound observation.
Yes, you have made yourself useful.
So if I were to give an answer, I would say that the prototype is smarter in terms of general intelligence, but Harley Sawyer is smarter in terms of his scientific knowledge. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and click on this video right here.